Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, happy Saturday. Passover, whatever you're celebrating at the moment of the episode. And welcome back to Internet Suck.
Ryan's internet is terrible. So we're going to fight our way through that in this episode. But hey, this is all for the better because really this whole episode is me talking about the most recent release by Angie de Poitrine. So
yes, volume 2. Hi, I'm back.
Yeah, volume 2. Shall we dive in? And we've got like live clips of them playing in Montreal, which may look fantastic. It's all happening right now.
I can't tell if you tried for the French pronunciation of Montreal there, and so felt like you kind of abandoned it in the middle of the word.
I don't know. Maybe that's your internet. I think I pronounced it perfectly. We'll have to ask people watching the show.
But. Well, that's fair. So anyway, welcome back to another episode of Always Almost There. It seems as though I can speak now. And we are here very excited to be continuing our 5 years on retrospective series at some classic era Goose, if you will. If you missed our first episode, we did it back in December. We looked at the fall 2020 drive-in tour. Lots of interesting stuff in that episode. Definitely go check it out. And today, as the title suggests that you clicked on, we will be covering the spring 2021 pods and drive-ins. So that is Suwannee Festival in April, and then the 6th show run in early May. This was these are some very important shows that we're about to talk about.
Big shows. 6 scheduled shows. I think you end up with 5 shows worth of material in the end. But yeah, these are big ones. A lot of rain.
Yeah.
In the spring of 2021.
A lot of rain. It was a rainy May. In a couple of different places. But there's a lot of stuff happening. And before we dive into the shows, let's kind of set the scene here. Lots happened. While Goose didn't play any shows from December 2020 to April 2021, there was a lot happening in the Goose community. I feel like a lot of people like me who had gotten on board in 2020, were just very much chomping at the bit for more shows, and people were really solidifying their fandom of the band throughout this period. Yes. At least that's what it felt like to me, is kind of coming into it. And the first kind of significant thing that happened during this period, I believe this happened first, was the release of 2021, the Vampire Weekend cover that was obviously 20 minutes and 21 seconds long, recorded in Trevor's living room. If you haven't listened to this, by the way, it's great.
It's really good. It's really good. It's kind of a forgotten piece of Goose lore, but it's an excellent recording.
Yeah, really cool, really solid jam in there. But so there was that, and we had a bigger deal that kind of still affects Goose now, is the wide release of TED Tapes 2021. So TED Tapes previously, they had released a few curated collections on Bandcamp that you could buy. From 2019 and 2020. But this release went out onto, Spotify and everything and all of these. And it had a lot of stuff that wasn't on the previous releases. There were some repeats, but most importantly, it had Moby. I think that was the,
Yeah, and Dragonfly.
But I remember when they released it, the visualizer that night, I listened to Moby for the first time, and there was a whoa. This is some shit.
There was a lot happening around this time. The hype was really, really big around the band. The hype had just been growing and growing and growing since 2019. I think everybody was eager for anything to listen to, and then they released that. And it seems like they were in touch with a part of the cosmos that jam bands, try to get in touch with. And it was just, it was something truly special. It was surreal, psychedelic, and special. I mean, really, that's the only way to describe it. And that really set the tone for all of 2021 and the jamming that was happening. The TED Tapes, some degree or another, are a snapshot of what was happening around that time. But also, I feel like it influenced at least a few of these shows, because that TED Tapes vibe, the type TED, as it were, shows up quite a bit in the spring and then throughout the rest of the year.
Yeah. And listening back to these shows, in preparation for this episode, I kind of have in my head, like I kind of know what happened here, but listening back, especially, 5 years on, there's so many subtleties that you're picking up, and the leap forward from fall 2020 seems even more obvious and more apparent in hindsight than it did at the time. Because I remember streaming these shows and we were all like, whoa, like there's some shit going down. Like, this is not the same band that was playing 6 months ago. Like they all got a bunch of new gear over the break. Peter gets the vintage vibe. Rick gets like 800 new pedals and a new amp. Like there's lots going on. But
Right.
I feel like listening back to these shows, especially the May run, you get these things that the band like wouldn't even touch previously that are now like right at the forefront of their shows and jamming. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get into the details of that, but in some ways, there's like 2 steps forward, 1 step back. There's a little bit of 2019 vibes in here, which we'll touch on. Like
Sure.
they play a whole entire show that feels like it could have been plopped right in the summer of 2019. But in any case, the cool thing about this run is everybody was eager to listen to shows, and sometimes when you're trying to listen to a new band, the material comes out faster than you can consume it and really truly kind of let it absorb and understand it. And that was one of the magical things about this little run here, is there were so few shows that everybody really listened to a lot of these deeply. If you were listening to the band at the time, you were listening to all of these shows, and there was no like feeling of being overwhelmed, because it was really easy to
Right.
take all of this stuff in and kind of piece it together and pick it apart and do all of those things.
That's also because some of these venues, as bad as Goose is with time management now, they were a lot worse in 2021. And some of these venues, some of these venues with early curfews resulted in very short shows. And, one of the shows is 60 minutes long because of a monsoon. So that was also, I think, in 2021, part of the reason that everybody was listening so closely is because they also had these shorter runs of shows, at least in the first half of the year. You had the May run, the June run, the July one, which were all feeling, they all felt kind of isolated. And so it was like, as they're happening, you can listen and then move on and listen back and whatever. But yeah, it wasn't 20 shows that you have to absorb all on the fly. That's a great way to look at it.
I mean, I will say that I listen to these shows probably more than any other shows. Like you, this is really the peak of me getting into the band, is right as this is happening. I had been to a bunch of shows in late 2020, and I decided then, all right, I'm really going to kind of focus in on this band. I like what they're doing. And then all of these things kind of start to happen. There's other things that happened at the same time too. They released Buffalo on vinyl, I think, and there's all these like little things they're doing to try to keep the band going, because money was not, they were not a wealthy band at this time too. They were very hungry,
right?
Because they had just survived the pandemic. So, a bunch of things happening.
I mean, it was still going on. Like that. All these shows are either drive-in shows or pod shows. This is still very much that's also very much a thing here. By the way, like they're not playing at traditional venues yet. Like at this point, in a normal time, they would have been playing like clubs, small theaters. Really aggressively hitting the road. But here, it's like, all right, here are these few places that we can play shows. Like, let's set up some pod dates. Let's set up some drive-in dates. Like, get out there, play something. Which is great. And that hunger also translates into this run, because it's like they're like, okay, we only have these 6 shows, etc. Like, we got to get some shit done.
And they do a lot of unique arrangements of songs, deep cuts, new stuff. I mean, all kinds of things are happening in this run. It's cool.
Well, let's talk about it. Let's talk about what's going on.
Shall we?
So our first show here, we have April 9th, 2021 at Spirit of the Suwannee Music Park in Live Oak, Florida. Goose did a 2-set headlining performance at the Suwannee Rising Festival. Of note, this weekend was also, this is the first time that Ben played with Humphreys. Chris got COVID at the last minute, and they like called him up that day while they were already on site. I was like, you want to sit in? But anyway, Goose comes down here, and this is also their first fly gig. So for those who don't know, sometimes the the band will fly to a festival for a one-off where they don't schlep all of their own gear out. So they're playing on mostly rented gear. So sometimes you'll have a different sound. This show has a completely unique sound from any Goose show before or after due to the gear, the way it's mixed, etc. Like the drums are so present in the mix. Rick also has a Vox amp for this show, which results in like a completely different tone. And I love the way that his guitar sounds in this show. I don't know if it would be as exciting like if he used this amp for a really long time, and I don't think it would work. But like for one show, it's sick.
Yeah, it's got a growl to it for sure. It's not the right amp for him. I'm sure he didn't love that amp, and he was just like, "Well, we're just gonna make lemonade here." And but the result is quite interesting. There's a few spots in this show where it really shines through, where you would expect a very clean tone from Rick, especially like in the jives. And you'd get something else entirely, which is right. Yeah, it's fascinating. It's quite good.
Also of note, things that I'm remembering from this show. This is the first Goose show ever where Peter sat down.
Whoa. I mean, that. Yeah.
He never had a school before this.
This is true. This is also around the time when, the beginnings of AAT Goose Pod was happening, and we were doing the chats.
We were meeting each other on the internet.
Yeah, and we were doing the chats on, what was that, Clubhouse? Was that the name of the app?
Oh, okay. Clubhouse was big. Clubhouse was another winter of 2021 thing, and if anyone remembers this short-lived social media app, it was basically like having a conversation. Twitter Spaces existed after this that was kind of basically just Clubhouse, but yeah, and we hosted Jive Goose, myself, and Greg Knight hosted through, I want to say like February and March, or maybe March and April 2021, we hosted a series called Sunday Shenanigans, where basically we would just log on a Sunday evening and talk about Goose. We had Peter on once, which was
that's what I was
exciting.
Getting at. That's what I was getting at. Because one of the things that Peter talked about is that in that chat, he was like, guys, I'm getting so many keyboards now. I don't know
where
what
should
to
I
do.
put it?
Where should I put them? And like, he was worried about like, should he face the crowd? Should he not face the crowd? It was a neat conversation, and an indication of the time of just how small like the community was at that time. Like, I mean, he didn't have like, he would have a guitar tech to have that conversation with, or a keyboard tech to have that conversation with now. But back then he was just like sourcing information from the internet.
Yeah. No, he came out, he came on Clubhouse and he was like, guys, like, I want to hear your opinion. Like, where should I put this new keyboard that I got? Which is cool.
And ultimately he landed on, he needed to be like, not have something between him and the crowd. And that's the way it's kind of,
I would recommend people go, check out some of the video and photos from this era, kind of set the scene if you weren't listening to Goose then, or, don't remember, but go check it out because, it's different. Peter has two sides to his board and it's kind of like an arrow shape pointing at Rick. So that way he's like always he was either looking at Rick or Jeff or then facing front playing guitar. But yeah, so they come down to Florida, rented gear. Peter's still sticking with the same number of keyboards that he had in the fall for this gig. He doesn't rent like a separate electric piano. So the Vintage Vibe makes its debut in May. But we get this Suwannee show, which is a really, really solid festival show. There's one big 30-minute centerpiece to it that closes the first set. But just aside from that, in the first set, another fun thing, this is the first Jive 2 with the sped up Peter solo section, which only happened, I believe, in 2021 a few times. Like, I don't think they've done it outside of 21, but they did that here. Kind of like a maze vibe to it. But this is the beginning of them kind of toying with Jive 2 a little bit that they did kind of early on in this year.
A lot of jives. Cool. A lot of jives. This episode. We'll be talking about some jives.
Yes. But yeah, the real exciting piece of this show is the All I Need Jive Lee. To close the first set, you get a big 20-minute All I Need. One of the best segues ever still into Jive Lee here. It's just incredible. But this All I Need is amazing. This was when All I Need, kind of the first jam, was kind of starting to stretch its legs. And, Pine Creek was like the real breakthrough for it, but here it's starting to lengthen itself. Before this 2019, 2020, the first jam would be like a very quick Rick solo, and then the second jam was where they would kind of, stretch out a little more. But here's, as you said, Neil, like this leg is where they start kind of playing with arrangements of songs, seeing what different things would work. And so here's where the first jam of All I Need kind of starts to grow some legs, which is cool.
Yeah, and it's, it has that signature kind of blissy kind of vibe to it, and it's really nice. There's not much of it, but you do get some there. And of course, you've already said it, the segue into Lee is just outrageous. What's funny though is when I go back and listen to this, I have to, and this is throughout this episode, I have to kind of separate my thoughts from the time versus my thoughts now going back and listening to it.
Yeah.
So Goose historically not good at segues, especially way, way, way back then. So when they did something like this,
there were no segues.
Exactly my point. So when something like this happens, you're like, oh my God. And our minds were blown at the time. I remember we were all going kind of crazy over it. And now I go back and listen to it and we're like, well, that's pretty good. I don't know if it's an all-timer segue anymore.
I still think
it's still great though. I mean, yeah, I guess so. But yeah, I mean, otherwise there's no, this one was in the Jam of the Year bracket. It was like Into Lee, I think, is the one that went into the bracket. And it's just funny because I think about that now and you stack that up against 2025 Goose, and I don't think that ever enters the conversation.
But we're not, we're not comparing the jamming to now, right? Like at the time, this was also, I think this All I Need was like a 12 seed or something. Like it didn't rank super high, but it was in the bracket. And I mean, this is a Ben jam. This is a classic Ben jam. Like
there's a lot of classic Ben in these shows.
Oh, that's true. That's true. But really amazing playing from him on this All I Need.
Yeah. Momentum. And then the Lee, of course, is just straight Schofield from Rick. It's full on Sco button, which it didn't occur to me at the time. I guess because it was just still kind of getting
it was
to know
newer.
Him as a player.
You also didn't know Rick's playing as well as you do now, right?
Which is what I was just saying. Yeah, it's just getting to know him as a player, but I mean, he really stomps the Sco button on this one, and I mean, he does full licks, full Sco licks ripped right out of songs and thrown in here. But it never gets to the point of a tease. But I mean, it is quite obvious that he's doing a go-go era Schofield stuff.
What I think is also interesting about this tour, and this kind of era, but that starts in this All I Need, is Rick is really building jams around a riff. This happens a whole bunch of times on this run where he'll find a riff and he'll really be milking that riff, and he'll either build off of it and then come back or just keep repeating that one phrase as kind of a thing. So I think that's I think that's a signature part of this tour, listening back here and just how many times a jam is centered around something that an idea that Rick has brought into it.
Last thoughts on this set. Doc Brown in the 2 slot, indication of a heater, big thing back then. And which I just love that song in that slot. I wish they did that more often. I wish they just played the song more often, to be honest with you. But hey, and then Gun Street Girl in the show, which is sick. Oh,
yeah,
absolutely incredible. And wish that one came back too. I really love that one.
Yeah, they haven't played it since Richmond 2022. Have they played it since then?
I am drawing a blank here. I mean, I could search the internet, but
click on
this is
right
one where we get
on
the slide guitar, right?
Yeah.
On a few of these.
Peter slide.
Yeah. Bring that back.
Bring it back in Born, really.
Yeah.
That's where we really need the Peter slide back. But yeah, otherwise this second set this is a flow set, right? There's not any big jams in this set, but it flows really well. More very solid segues, but this Arcadia at the time was heralded as the GOAT by a lot of people for some reason.
I mean, so we're moving on to the second set here, right?
Oh, I thought we covered the first set.
Yeah. So the Arcadia here is one of the ones where the amp really shines through Rick's amp. I mean, the gain is just turned up a bunch, so he gets like a little bit of, kind of distortion, like a little feedbackiness. And the growl at the end of this Arcadia is it's so good.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, the pocket on this Arcadia also is incredibly tight. So it is a good version. I could see why people would listen to this and say, "Oh, this is the GOAT." It's not, because the one they played in South Farms, just a few months beforehand.
And also Buffalo existed at the time. Like there was
Buffalo did exist at the time. That's true. I wasn't even thinking about that. But it's otherwise like a pretty neat version. This was still borrowing from the 2019 vibes, where like they're just gonna play like tight festival set Arcadia, and it's really good. Really good at what it is. I think it's about 12 minutes long, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Not looking at the track list. But the thing that I love about this show, and I think it's like the best jam in this show, everybody, when people think about this show, they think about the All I Need into Jive Lee, but I think about the Wisteria Lane in this show, which is shorter. So if I was in the business of making microjam playlists back in the day, this would be one of my top versions on the microjams playlist. Go back and listen to this thing, and Rick's playing on this. This is the beginning. This is the glimmer of what is to come. The Mission Arcadias, the Philly tumbles. And there's about 2.5 to 3 minutes, maybe 4 minutes of Rick doing this incredible emotive guitar soloing at the end of this Wisteria. It's so good. It's so good. If they had stretched this out, it certainly would have been the jam of the year. It's some really good stuff. And they just
certainly. Have you heard the Perry Western Sun?
I think they were onto something in this run, and they'd never stretched anything out. That was the evolution. And we'll talk about that when we recap those episodes, is they finally let it breathe. They finally found a spot and let it go. And who knows why in that moment in Perry they did that. But this song in this moment, this jam, they had just let it go. I think it really would have been great. I mean, it might be a little bit hyperbolic to say the best of the year, but it's certainly in
hyperbole.
That zone.
Us, never.
Yeah, me, no,
never. Yeah, and I
Quite
mean,
good.
It's also funny in hindsight looking at some of these set lists and remembering just being like, oh, this is solid. Like a mid set 2 flow down. Like we'd be like yelling at the band if they did that now, which I mean they do sometimes, but. Yeah, I mean, this is good. And it's always funny. Like, I'm, again, still trying to balance my mindset now and my 2021 mindset when I look at this show. Because I remember Empress was still a new song. Like, this was only the third Empress they had ever played. So just, interesting there. And, Slow Ready skipped the jam to play Empress. First indication of dealing with curfew, this spring that we had to contend with. But yeah, overall, this was a solid festival set, and I think a good way to whet the appetite for the year. If you have any closing thoughts on this show.
No, I mean, there's really not a whole ton to say. Like, I can't believe we're 25 minutes into this podcast and we're only finishing.
Yeah.
Suwannee Rising. One last note. I believe this is also the show that Peter met his now fiance at. And we know that they had met earlier because there's the
video from Halloween 2019.
There's a video from Halloween 2019
apron.
Yeah, but I forget where he said this. Maybe he just said this to us. I don't know. I don't remember. But he said he met her at that show, and that is also what Butterflies is about. It's about meeting her at the show. Yeah, little known fact.
That's adorable.
Yeah.
All right, so just under 1 month later. By the way, I remember we did a Sunday Shenanigans the day after this show while Greg Knight was in his Uber on the way back to his house from the airport after flying home from the festival. That was good.
Classic Greg Knight.
I'm pretty sure, by the way, our final Sunday Shenanigans was before the May run started. Like I think
that is true.
After that.
Yep.
There you go. See, you remember this stuff.
I do.
So going into the May tour, just to give a little bit more context going into that, it was a fan stream for the Suwannee show. Somebody set up a camera pointed right at the stage, and we had that. Going into May tour, it was like they're streaming all the shows. It's the first headline shows. And again, lots of people seeing their first show here. And I remember there were like people on the internet who were like in the area. Like, so Frederick, Maryland is right near Washington, D.C. So lots of people who are just like, we're cooped up at home. Let's go drive our car to this Goose show, to the fairground to see the drive-in. This show was also the official launch of the El Goose Times. Shout out, 5th anniversary. This volume 1 was at these shows. My first ever music journalism gig. So
one pager, if I remember correctly, wasn't it?
It was like one. I think it was. Yeah, it was like one long sheet folded in half. So it was like 4 pages. And I believe we had a Getty interview. I think was in volume 1. But anyway, May 3rd, 2021. Everybody is so excited. It's a Goose show. It's gonna be great. You look at the weather. Early May. It's gonna be fun, and there's just a monsoon in the forecast. And that might put a damper on the festivities.
Right.
And I will never forget sitting at home waiting for the stream to start, and everybody, at least so it's a drive-in show, right? So like if there's a thunderstorm or a tornado warning at a show in an amphitheater, they're like evacuating the lawn, they're doing stuff. Here they're just like, stay in your car. So people are like just in their cars, parked in front of the stage, while it's like actually the apocalypse around them. And the band backstage, they went like on Instagram Live. I remember.
Yeah, I remember
like
watching
they're just hanging
That's
out.
Right.
Yeah,
Karina was going like live from her account. Yeah.
And they got the band on, which was fun. But it was like killing time, and so they finally went on around 9:00. And this venue has a very hard 10 p.m. curfew, so we got 1 hour of Goose. Yeah, so like the rain stopped for a bit, and that's when they went on, and then it started raining again in the middle of the set. But everybody who was there, I remember it was like you're just soaking wet, covered in mud, just absolute nonsense. But
yeah. I think now's a good time to talk about the venues that were happening that existed at this time.
Yeah,
none of these were music venues. These were not vetted. They were all year one show, maybe 1, 2, 3,
here's
or
a field.
4 or 5. Yeah.
Here's a
and
field.
So,
we're gonna set up a stage.
Yeah. Yes. And so the kinks had not yet been ironed out. That's important for this story. So they're just figuring things out on the fly. And in this particular show, what they didn't realize is that all of the water, when it rains, made a lake at the front of the stage. And I mean, that's the crazy part of this entire show, is that people were standing knee deep or higher in water, which, like, to me at the time, I was like freaking out. I'm like, that's really, really dangerous. Like, there's electricity everywhere. Like, if that was me, I'm out of there, dude, or I'm standing on the top of my car. But in any case, yeah. So, I mean, this is a really wild show, and an example of truly, again, margins are tight for this band. The show has to go on. They cannot cancel the show and refund. So they're playing the show no matter what.
60
they're going to go out there
and
they're going to play something. And so that's what you get, what is it? Like, do they stop after Bob Don? Then it's Yeti.
Well, Yeti, Dark Horse, Arrow. So this show is Arrow, Bob Don, Yeti, Dark Horse, Arrow. And I'm realizing reading that we forgot to mention another thing that happened in early 2021, which was the announcement of Shenanigans Nightclub, their first album since Moon Cabin, which would be coming out in June. And so, yeah, I believe Dark Horse and Madhavan singles had been released before this show. But yeah, anyway.
Yeah. So, I mean, musically, they finally get to start playing. And I think they are, or at least this first little set of music is just insane.
It's an incredible set. Like this set is so good. Yeah, for what you can do when they're like, all right, you have 60 minutes, and they just came out there and they're like, don't worry, like, we're not fucking around.
Right.
And you immediately get their like a bunch of the new tones on display. Like Rick's dialing in all his new kind of like chorus and reverbs and whatever. Peter's got his new guitar. So this is the first show. I think actually had it at Suwannee too, but the Sir Strat, the pink one.
Yeah, he did have it at Suwannee, the pink one. Yeah, that was a great guitar. I love that guitar.
This is the beginning of kind of the transformation of his tone, right? Kind of differentiating it from Rick Moore, getting more of that sharper edge.
Single coil, yeah.
Now. Single coil.
Yep. I mean, that was what that was. That was the whole point, he sonically wanted to sound completely different than Rick because, actually hearkening back to those Clubhouse sessions, he was talking about that specifically. He was like, one day I realized I sounded so much like Rick.
You remember
and I was like, oh yeah, totally. I remember this stuff clear as day. And he's like, I need to sound different than Rick. And what way to do it than just use an entirely different style of guitar? I mean, it couldn't be a farther departure. So for those who don't know the details of all of this and are just kind of tuning in now and, kind of didn't know all this stuff back then, Peter had always played a PRS hollow body 2, just like Rick. And Rick at the time was playing a PRS hollow body 2. So they had almost identical rigs until this moment. And it was hard to tell the difference. I mean, you can tell because they're just completely different styles of players, but the guitars themselves did sound quite similar.
Yeah.
So that is why he switched to this guitar. So yeah. But in any case, you have this arrow where it is a pretty standard arrow. I think this is at the time, this was the GOAT arrow. And
this was also like, when they played this arrow, like this was the first like, oh my God, holy shit, jamming moment that we got.
Yeah, true. That's actually right. Because, this thing does what arrow does. For about 17 and a half minutes, you get arrow. And then it's like,
even
drop
now,
the bottom out of it.
Yeah. And even now, Goose will sometimes not do a post-peak jam. But in May 2021, they had never done that. It was not like arrow, especially. It was like, we're hitting the peak and we're out. And here, the bottom drops out and we get like beautiful, like churning 2-guitar funk. And it's like, it's so good.
Slow churn. That's what I know.
Slow
churn. It's a
slow churn.
I mean, Peter's playing and this is exceptional. It's weird what happens to it. And this is classic Ben, but they have this kind of slow churn thing going and it's not funky. And then Ben just turns it into a funk jam that's a little bit faster. Which is a thing that happened a lot back then. So I think it's better when it starts than when it finishes, but it's still an exceptional jam. And yes, you're right. This is one of those moments where we're like, okay, this is a different band now. And I think actually this arrow holds up. This is one of the few jams from around the time that I listen to it now, and I'm like, this can hang with the shit that they're doing now.
This was also before the guitar keyboard split happened, which is to say that in this era, if Peter played the song on guitar, the whole jam was on guitar. Like at this point, he was not switching to keys unless there was like a segue imminent into a keys song. So like they're jamming on Arrow, it's a 2-guitar song. It's a 2-guitar jam. And that was the thing here. So that's another important distinction about this era also is like your Wisterias, your Arrows, now something, where he will just switch to keys pretty early a lot of the time. That wasn't a thing yet.
These are things I don't think about, I swear.
There you go.
But so moving on from the Arrow, then Rick is angry Rick. He's like upset. And this Bob Don guitar solo. Oh my God.
Bob Don. Jeez.
It's so good. Best guitar solo of the year. Yeah.
And to make it even better, in the middle of this Bob Don, it starts raining again. And it doesn't just start raining. Like there's a roof over the stage. So it's like it starts raining. Everybody's out there having a good time. And then the wind starts blowing. And you can see on the YouTube video when the rain just starts coming in sideways at the band. There's one point where like Peter says like, oh, fuck, into the microphone in the middle of the song. And from a musical perspective, by the way, can we get a fast Bob Don revival maybe? Like this song at this tempo and intensity is so good.
Yeah, I mean, Rick's
I kind
of
miss the riff too.
So good. I mean, in terms of straight rock and roll guitar solo, this is up there with his best. It's quite good. But yeah, I'm with you, man. This era of Bob Don was good, and you got a lot of Bob Dons back then too, which we love the Bob Don.
Pre-with.
Yep. That's right.
And then does anybody have like 30 towels?
Yeah. Then of course you kind of get the Yeti Dark Horse. There's a hilarious hot mic moment in here where coach is just on stage just trying to make sense of all of this mess.
Like towel
And he's
things
just
off and
yeah, like classically coach just like talking as though there is no audience there because like, it's in the transition from being like a bar band to being like a much bigger band. And he's like, "You gonna hit him with the D horse?" Like, do you know this? And then Rick
no,
is like,
I didn't listen to Towel Jam.
It's so good. Rick's just
great.
like telling him to shut up through his teeth. It's so good. Like he's like, they can definitely hear you. Good stuff. That's a nice
And here
moment.
and the way that they're on this 6-show run or 5-show run. I keep saying 6-show run. On this 5-show run, there are only 2 repeats, Dark Horse and Tumble. And both, so also by the way, big deal for them at the time, going 5 shows without repeating songs. You were getting Drive every 2 shows, which you still do, and T, which you still do for the rest of the year. This is the beginning of, by the way, like getting beat over the head by Hot Tea.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, so this Yeti and the Dark Horse that comes later in the tour, they both kind of have whatever song they segue out of does the type 1 thing, and then downshifts into that type TED space that was still very new and very novel for them, and just like beautifully comes into the beginning of Dark Horse. This is also the first time Peter ever uses his vintage vibe on stage. Exciting moment. But I love the way that this Yeti kind of breaks out into space and then, makes its way into Dark Horse. It's a cool and very unique version of the song.
One of a handful of good Yetis in this year. But
yes.
This was also every 3rd show or less in 2021.
2021 song crazy. Rotation was it was something.
It's wild. Absolutely wild. Shall we move on to night 2?
Yeah. Oh yeah. And then they conclude Arrow. This Dark Horse, this was the return with the album, first one in 2 years, 117 shows. Anyway, night 2, thankfully, the weather was perfect this day. I remember everybody was very happy. The sun was out, it was warm, and we got 2 sets of Goose.
Yeah, lots of videos of sound check. I remember on this day, lots of talk about this particular sound check because they were playing Dr. My Eyes during the sound check and people were losing their minds.
Which was a debut. And I think that's the only, like, this first set is solid, but I don't think we need to talk about anything other than the Dr. My Eyes.
I agree with that.
Another really good Type 1 Arcadia. Rick had just gotten a wah pedal, and he had a good time with said wah pedal.
Yeah. I mean, this set is a good example of, I think, these days, when people talk about 2021, they have all these fond memories of 2021. They're like, oh man, 2021 was so good. Their playing was excellent. Definitely one of their best years ever. And then you look at this set and you're like, not true. It's kind of a yawner. I mean, in terms of improv, there's not much there. I mean, there are songs that you would expect jams in, right? There's a Flea in there. There's an Echo of a Rose. There's an All I Need. There's an Arcadia. So track list wise, you're like, okay, this has got to be a banger of a set. Yeah. It looks solid on paper, but it's not. It's just not. I mean, it's still good. It's good Goose. Don't get me wrong. But it's solid improv for
the era is solid.
Yeah. Yeah. And when you're talking about this show, you're really talking about 2 songs. I think there's 2 jams.
I would give it 3 songs that this show exists upon. And that's let's talk about them now, because the Arrow kind of was like a big holy shit moment, but this Creatures was the real holy shit moment.
Like, for you, I want to be clear about that. I think you are the biggest like Frederick Creatures fan I know.
Yeah.
So I think I have to temper your excitement around the song a little bit.
But you're telling me that what happens after minute 17 in this jam isn't incredibly sick?
Yeah, I think the most sick parts of it are the last 2 minutes, but it's only like 2 minutes of the thing. But you're right. It is quite good. Again, this is the kind of jam that we had not come to expect from this band. So it was super mind blowing. This was a 1 seed, I believe, in the 2021 bracket, wasn't it? Or
it was
2?
A 2. It was a 2
seed. Yeah.
I had it ranked 2 overall.
I know you did.
But also important context about song arrangements. Prior to now, Creatures was a guitar song. And Peter got the vintage vibe and he was like, this is not a guitar song anymore. And this was the first time that they skipped like that kind of klezmer-ish, whatever the progression that they used to do and they still do sometimes. So this was the first time that they just wrote out that jam, vintage vibe. So excitement there. And yes, I was more excited than most people, whatever. But the real star comes after the Type 1 Creatures jam where they really typed hit. And this is just like slow, patient, spacey jamming that was unlike anything before. And this is notable more than the Arrow from the previous night because Two Guitar Goose up to this point, I mean, had always been leaps and bounds beyond what they would do when Peter was on keys from an improvisational perspective. And this is like a really big step forward for what they're doing. And also in terms of patience, this is a band that was not known for their patience. And so this last, I don't know, 6 minutes of this Creatures is just wonderful.
It's very good.
Wonderful.
Yeah, there's a lot to get
so
through.
Now Neil's gonna.
Yeah. No. I actually don't have much to say negative about this. What's funny is like doing prep for this episode. Again, I said early when we were kind of talking about it, like I listen to these shows more than I've listened to any show. But when I was doing the prep for this, I just kept going back and listening to this Creatures. I listened to it like 7 times.
It's so good. It's
pretty good. It's pretty good. But yeah, I mean, I agree with all the things you said. I mean, you've thought a lot about this Creatures. You've written a lot about this Creatures. You've said a lot about this Creatures.
I've listened to it.
I don't think I can add more than what you've said, but it's a really, really interesting point that I want to underscore, which is this is a moment where Peter, as a keyboard player, became a serious keyboard player. And I think it's important to mention is, again, we have the current context right now where Peter, of course, he's a great keyboard player. He's not John Medeski or anything, but he's still a serviceable, good keyboard player. And at the time, folks were still talking about, is he a keys guy? That was still part of the conversation because he was still learning the instruments. And I mean, he had only been playing keys at this moment
for a few years. And I think like lockdown and especially their break in early 2021 enabled him to kind of like lock himself in a room with a keyboard and really shed.
Yeah. So this is a big deal. This is a big moment. This Creatures, it's meaningful. And of course, this is the beginning of him adding instruments to his rig, which happens throughout 2021. Actually, well, I guess it started in 2020. But later on at the 4848 festival, he adds the Hammond. Yeah. So, but vintage vibe. This is it. This is where it all begins.
Amazing.
Excellent instrument.
Into perfectly placed Erosion, by the way. Like they earn it and it emerges out of the jam beautifully, and then they just go right back and at first glance is like it's 19 minutes of very high energy tumble. This was the GOAT. Oh no, it wasn't the GOAT at the time. Second best because 2:15:20. I'm pretty sure. But this one is fantastic and another example of Rick building a jam around one riff, which I really like in this version.
What's funny? I think this is a good moment to talk about the crowd at these shows. So for the love of God, like somebody send this message to Peter and let's redo these shows and just take the crowd out.
Yeah, like remix them. Yeah,
take
them out the crowd mics.
Just no crowd mics at all. There's quite a bit of crowd noise, which also is both funny and not funny in times. But one of the funny parts is at the end of this one, and I believe this is famed rail rider who has now moved on from the band pretty much, Noah Ray, after the tumble. He's right at the front for that. And he's like, holy shit. And he's like losing his mind. And it's quite funny. So if you go listen to that, I know you're not going to key in on the crowd noise because there's a significant amount of crowd noise in this particular show that is just brutal, but there's that moment which is quite funny.
Yeah, 2021, Peter really liked to include that. And the show ends there. Yeah. There's nothing that happens after this tumble. You know, it's funny. Every time I go back, I'm like, yeah, I love that set. And I go and I listen and the tumble ends and I'm like, great. And that, that's it. Seekers, slow ready. Yeah. Curfew, whatever. This was, they went on 40 minutes after ticket time and they took a 40-minute set break. And then suddenly the second set's an hour. Funny how that works.
So this is one of the things I was alluding to, which is when you add all of this up, I don't know if you actually get 6 shows worth of material.
No. You're getting like 3 or 4 shows worth of music in this run.
Absolutely. I mean, because of course the night before, and then also you get like a really, really short set in the caverns also. But
yeah. All right. Well, before we get there, nice weather in Charleston. There were a lot of boats happening around this show, Riverfront Park, May 6, 2021. I remember, I think there was a thing like Greg and Bruce and their group, they had a boat for this show. I remember there was just a lot of boat chatter in the community at the time.
Yeah. I think there was one boat with Austin, who is, the star of the Your Direction video, and and Russo, which is important because of the set list of the show. It actually has relevance here. And then it's also where the Jeb with the Gong Gang captain's hat. That's where that began.
This was the debut.
This is where it all began.
Captain's hat. All right, there we go.
Yep.
This show begins the trend of Goose not playing good shows in Charleston, which lasted until December 2024. We will see if Goosemas flipped that on its head or was an anomaly this coming June. This is the worst show of the tour.
I mean, this they plucked this from summer 2019, and then they
did they ever? My God,
they tacked an Earthling or alien on the end of it, but it has all of the hallmarks,
except for the whales,
around the whales, all of the hallmarks of a 2019 show. Extended hot tea, check. Extended drive or extended hot tea.
No.
Nothing but
not
funk.
Yeah.
And
but also, it's not an extended drive. Mid-set to random cover that's 3 minutes that people like. Check.
Yeah, and then it's a 16-minute drive or so, 15 and a half, something like that. And it's full of teases and nothing else. I don't know. It is classic summer 2019 stuff.
Yeah.
And
you got to switch it over.
Yeah. And again, if you go back and listen to 2019, I know a lot of people have a soft spot in their heart for 2019 and they absolutely love it because they're thinking about the fall. But if you go back and you listen to every show of 2019,
which we did, by the way, last year.
I've done it.
It's a fucking slog.
It's a slog of drives and hot teas that sound just like this drive and this hot tea in the show. That is
this hot tea. I will argue against this hot tea sounding like a 2019 hot tea. 2019 hot teas were double the tempo of this one.
Of course,
we're only Rick. This hot tea is different because you listen to this now, it doesn't sound like it's slow. I just distinctly remember at the time they started playing it and we were like, why are they playing it so slowly? Hot tea was da 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 da. It was always so fast, and they just slowed it right down. You get again some of those new effects and a little bit of a it was a new approach to the groove that now is obviously not new or novel in the slightest. But in May of 2021, this was another thing, and this is also just a testament to this show that I'm spending a lot of time talking about this hot tea because this is the only interesting thing that happens.
There's one more interesting thing. There's one.
The 726 arrangement of This Old Sea?
726 This Old Sea, which I guess you can call it that.
It is.
But it's a cool arrangement.
It is. Yeah. Check out This Old Sea. It's basically, it's not exactly, but it's it's played in the style of 726.
Sure. And it's cool. It sounds good, but This Old Sea, this is another example of things that didn't need to be changed.
Sure.
This
And there's a
whole
lot
scene
of
was
that.
good on its own. It
Yeah.
was so good on its own, and but this one was decent and it was interesting, and they gave it a spin, and that was neat. The other thing that's interesting about this set, at least to me, is this Into the Mist. Ben puts on a drum clinic at the end of this thing.
You
He's
listened
doing.
to this?
Oh yeah, it's good. I remembered
Okay.
it from back then, and I revisited. And Ben is a flashy drummer. I think that's one thing that we can say about him. He loves to do the rudiment stuff and like stuff that
Berkeley.
like other people can't do. He really does have chops that are ridiculous. And this Into the Mist has quite a bit of that, of him just doing things where you're like, wow, that is remarkable. That's all. I mean, it didn't really fit into the jam. It was just like almost like like a guitar solo, but on drums, but not like a full-on drum solo. You know what I mean? He's like a lead
Right.
instrument for a hot minute there.
Yep.
And so that's neat. And then you get like 15 minutes of Earthling or Alien with
This is the beginning of the problematic conducting.
Yeah.
Like they did it, it was cute when they did the breaks in fall 2020. It was like fine. And then just every Earthling or Alien between this one and Fredfest is just like, it's painful. It's painful.
Yeah. I mean, it is. It's not, I don't know.
Everybody scream. Like,
yeah. Well,
stop. No.
I mean, I think you're being a little harsh, but my beef with it is it's just in the place of improv, there's just shenanigans, and I don't like shenanigans in the place of improv. I was never a big vacuum guy. What I mean?
like shenanigans in addition to improv, but not like coming up with weird things you can do in instrumental breaks for 15 minutes.
Yeah. I mean, it has a time and a place. And I think in this particular show, we were just kind of hoping for some jamming, and
there was none.
Yep.
And then, as you mentioned earlier, Russo does have relevance to this show because this Love Light was dedicated to him because he does not like this song.
He does not like the song.
There are a few of those in 2021, actually.
Yep.
3 to be
There's
exact.
3.
Luckily, after a mostly jamless show in Charleston, we head to the Caverns Above Ground Amphitheater in Pelham, Tennessee, which, good news, there's lots of jamming in this show. Like a lot.
Oh boy, is there.
I mean, this show, another 2-hole Doc Brown. Exciting. Debut of new Elizabeth arrangement, which is obviously not new now, but this was also, another thing that happened in early 2021, they went into the studio with D. James Goodwin for the first time. I believe in March, they recorded Dripfield and a bunch of other stuff, which I think is Dripfield and Autumn Crossing and Undecided. All of those releases, I believe, are from these sessions.
Okay.
But yeah, so this Elizabeth, the that count in came out of that. In this show, first time they ever played acoustic guitars on stage at a Goose show in front of people.
Weird. Yeah, I mean, highs and lows in this show. There are all kinds of. I mean, I think we could actually go through this whole show. We can do it like
this is so. By the way, if you're gonna pick any one show from this run to listen to in full, this one's also the only one that's fully on YouTube. But this show, May 8th, is worth a full spin.
It is worth a full spin. There are skip tracks, but
there are skip tracks, but like if you spin it, there's not like long stretches of except for the first half of the first set.
Well, okay, so let's get into it. So Travelers, like no synth solo Travelers, which is interesting. That kind of
synth
like
came in the summer,
blew my mind. Yeah. And so like this is just a piano solo Travelers, which it was a good choice to move to the synth solo. I think it's really, really good. 2-slot Doc Brown. So yay. That's excellent.
Banger.
Elizabeth was always welcome at this time. And then they do the one thing I don't like about the transition to the acoustic guitar stuff is it took them quite a long time. There were some technical difficulties. I think the
volume
knob on Peter's guitar was turned all the way down.
I don't
which
think.
is
I also
interesting.
don't think they didn't have curfew issues at these shows. Like you
Hmm.
now also you get. I mean, there's weather on the 9th, but on the 8th you get a pretty decent length show with an encore and everything. So
Yeah. And so then they moved to the acoustic section of the show. I weirdly like I don't think it actually hits for me.
the
There
Rosewood
are
does.
instances but the guitar that they ditched the acoustic guitars in Rosewood almost immediately.
Sure,
So it
but I
feels
like the
gimmicky in
switch.
that one. The turn clouds is excellent. But I honestly, and like I feel bad saying this, the me and Julio down by the schoolyard, not my favorite cover that they do, but this particular version has Getty
It was
whistling
Eddie's birthday.
his 26th birthday, which is actually mind blowing that he turned 26 like while
He's only
running the
5 years
lights for
older
the
than me.
band. But he's like, not only is he whistling, he didn't do like a whistling solo, he's doing whistle improv in this thing. I mean, it is extended
Yeah, man.
improv of whistling.
Hell yeah, brother.
It's not the best. I don't love it.
My
but
favorite
it's
part about
happening
this
in this.
also, if you watch the video, their crew was still really small at this. Sam
Yeah.
King wasn't even their tour manager yet.
Not
She
till
started
summer,
in
yeah.
June. Yeah.
Yep.
But so nobody's running lights. So like Getty set them to like a very mild like oscillation or just like a subtle movement. And so the whole me and Julio is just funny. You just see the lights are just kind of stationary, which is so rare for a Goose show. Like now, if
Yeah.
they were to do this, like Spadaro or someone would go and run lights for 5 minutes. But now, here there was just no one.
There's no one.
Yeah.
So yeah, man. I don't know what else to say. That's what happens there.
Yep.
And then things start to turn at Rosewood. From Rosewood on, I think it gets a lot better.
Remember when people tried to convince you that this one was better than the Hosewood?
Man, so all right. I wasn't gonna do this, but now I'm gonna do it. So this Rosewood, it gets a lot of hype, and I think only because they played acoustic guitars in it. It's not a great version of Rosewood.
I agree.
At the time when we were doing the Jam of the Year thing, there was quite a bit of argument around whether or not this was the greatest Rosewood they have ever done. Some people believed so. I think Greg Knight himself said he thought it was the best Rosewood they had ever done. So that added, that fanned the flames of the controversy. But go back and listen to this thing. It's one of the jams that doesn't stand up. This one, I think it's remembered as like a great jam from this show, and it's an okay Rosewood. That's all it is. It's pretty good. I don't know.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts? Like in terms of the jam, like what stands out here?
I agree. And I think I was one of the people that definitely overhyped it at the time. I didn't know any better, man. But yeah, listening back to it, preparation for this, it's like a hot Rosewood with 2 peak sections. And there's like a cool minute in the middle where they kind of start getting a little percussive or dissonant, but then they go back to the peak. But you get the first of several pretty sick segues in this show. And by several, I mean 2, which is into the beginning of Jive 1. Very nice transition.
Very nice. Yes.
Into that. This Jive 1 is also, it's too slow. There's like, they needed a little more pep to this one, especially for a set closing version. Like I remember they also did, this didn't hit for me, but the segue into it is great. And it starts the first full performance of the triptych in a single show that they had ever done.
Yes. And a little bit of you get SCO teases in here as well from people.
Yes,
I think there's shank teases in this one. So a lot of SCO vibes in the jives here. But yes, so this begins for me one of my favorite sections of music in 2021.
Mm-hmm.
It is quite good. Everything from beginning to end here is truly excellent, in my opinion. And the jams come in weird places where you wouldn't really expect them.
You're talking about when I'm set 2 here.
I'm just talking about I'm talking about Jive 2.
Jive 2, I mean,
the bonus
Jive
jam.
Lee into Jive 2 is so good.
Yes.
Yeah. Like the last couple of minutes of this Jive Lee also, like, they should have kept going on. The segue and then the ensuing Jive 2 is amazing, but like they were cooking on something.
Yeah, this one doesn't stand up for me. I don't know. It's just a Jive Lee. It's one of those Jive Lees that's kind of like, it's Jive Lee. But this Jive 2,
but yeah.
on the other hand, Holy smokes. So, you get the bonus jam on the end of this thing. It gets tracked as part of Jive 2. It could have been its own thing. These things can be controversial. It wasn't controversial back then.
I mean, it was.
Jive.
By the way, I'm pretty sure you were the one arguing about it.
Maybe.
I seem to remember you being like, "It's not Jive 2. It's its own thing." And
I mean, because
sure
it was.
I,
it
asked
is.
Coach.
Well, because what are you going to do? You're going to call it jam on the set list? Like that? Heck no.
You hate when that happens.
I do not like that at all. No. Do not like it. So, yeah. So this jam, I think, did not get enough credit. And I don't know why. It is
like
truly
a
remarkable.
4 or 5 seed in the bracket, I think.
It should have been higher. It should have been a 1 or not a 1, but like a 2 seed. I mean, it really is that good. It's the best jam of this whole entire little run. Is in this Jive 2. I mean, what's better?
Creatures.
Yeah, I guess you're right. I forgot about Creatures for a moment there. And the Arrow, I'd say it's better than the Arrow.
Yeah, Jive 2 is the second best jam of this May run.
I still think in terms of quantity of improv and quality at the same time, this Jive 2 might be better.
It's in the conversation. Yeah, like Creatures doesn't run away with that.
Yeah, but this thing it's great, and it has that Type Ted style jamming. They tap into a part of the cosmos that is just way out there, and it's all happening right in this moment, and it continues throughout. Well, throughout to the end of Moby, really. But yeah, I mean, they were really on to something here, and it was some excellent jamming.
Yeah,
I don't have specific notes about this thing. It's just
I mean, the progression that they hit on for the last segment is the same as the last peak of the Grippo Flea, which is notable thing that they find there. But yeah, really amazing peak, and one of 2 versions of Jive 2 to date with this bonus jam. Would be fun to see this come back just for fun.
I would like to see them just like revisit this theme. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it is great.
It's just but like I think the ending part of this Jive 2 is just an Elmeg jam.
So that's the Grippo Flea thing that I'm talking about.
Is that what you're talking about? Yeah, it sounds like Elmeg.
Like that 2-chord Blissey. Yeah, kind of.
But
we'll get to Elmeg.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, I think they were hinting at Elmeg, the Elmeg to come. Oh, yeah, right. That was the other point I was going to make about this, which is like this is a thing that people talk about now, which is, isn't it interesting that they opened this run with Travelers and they closed it with Elmeg?
At the Caverns?
They just had recorded Autumn Crossing. So it's just things to think about here. There's like a little bit happening that we didn't even realize at the time.
Well, exactly, because the first Travelers Elmeg pairing didn't happen until Fred Fest.
That's right.
So, all right, look at us. We're uncovering new things here. This is why we do this podcast, folks. Not just because we like to talk. All right, Neil, this wisteria is kind of like you've been a champion of this wisteria for 4 or 5 years. So you talk about this wisteria.
Well, I mean, this is an example of just like a criminal ripcord, and you're going to disagree with me on all of this, but
what do you mean? I agree.
So this is the first Moby that they play right after this, and they just stop the jam so they can play Moby, and man, that sucks because the jam that they're playing in this wisteria has roughly 90 seconds to 2 minutes of some of the best improv they've ever done. And
they weren't ready for that yet.
But like they had it. They were there. They had it, whatever that thing is. The thing that all jam band fans know about. It's
San
like
Francisco
that magic
wisteria
moment.
Is what they had.
Like they were doing it right there in that moment. It was all happening, and they were like, "Now we really, really want to play Moby." And
no, but
it was the most awkward transition to Moby ever, and I hate it. But this wisteria is so good. It's so good, but only for a moment. And
sure,
I wish Jive were here for this conversation because he was like at the time was the one who always disagreed with me about this wisteria, and I still think he's wrong. He's definitely wrong. It's so good.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I disagree with you that they had it. Like they stumbled into it and they were playing it, but as a band, they weren't ready to really go down that rabbit hole. Like, you don't see this kind of evil 2-guitar jam really get, explored until winter 2022. And I think this is one of the things about this tour where you start to see, like, they're kind of looking ahead, but they're not quite ready to make the leap to that thing yet. And so this is we get a glimpse of the future in this Wisteria. And yeah, it's amazing, and you shouldn't skip it because it's only 12 minutes. And I think we all skipped it at the time, except for Neil, because it was only 12 minutes.
Hey, listen, they were there though. They had just done it in Jive 2. So I just don't get it. I don't get why they pulled the plug. But hey, that's what they do.
Because it was a scarier idea. Like, it was a new thing.
I get it. I get what you're saying. I see what you're saying. Maybe I agree with that. Where it was just like, that's not the type of jamming that they were doing yet.
They weren't
ready to do it.
Yeah,
maybe that's fine.
Think of 2023, the number of times that they like kind of were into like the Westville,
the dissonant
Rockdale
space.
The
they left
thing,
it.
They weren't ready for it yet. Like, Rick wasn't ready for that yet. And then in 2020,
he ran screaming from those jams in 2023.
He ran open fretboard strum.
Yeah, totally.
From those.
It's just like, I am not doing this.
And yeah, then we get the live debut of Moby, which huge deal, because when TED tapes were released, first of all, as we know about TED tapes, none of these are actual compositions in advance, right? And I think out of all the TED tapes they've ever had, Moby is probably the closest thing to like, here's a form and here's a melody. Like, Dragonfly has that too, I guess. So Moby and Dragonfly are like the two things where it's like clearly defined riff, clearly defined thing, and it's not just kind of like a vibe, if that makes sense. Yep. Like, some of them have riffs, but like, wouldn't totally work in a performance setting. But like, Moby was one that was like, I really hope they play this. But we had no idea if they were ever going to play these songs. And so this was a very, very exciting moment.
Yeah, I mean, the TED tapes were practice recordings, dude.
Right.
Moby happened in a sound check in Mexico. That's what Moby is.
2020. Yeah.
Playing
in the Sand. If you go watch the day of show from Playing in the Sand 2020, there's a clip of them playing Moby when they like made it up on the spot.
Yeah, right there.
They weren't even recording that sound check, by the way. Like, the reason why we don't have everything before is because they started playing, and they like started playing something really sick. And I think Peter realized they weren't recording and like ran off stage to hit record. And that's why there's no Peter right at the beginning of the Moby track, and why it fades in like that, because he like was like hitting record on the thing and then ran back on stage to keep playing. So thank you for doing that, Peter.
Yeah, no kidding, huh? And so then you get it as a fully realized song, which,
it's sick.
Here it is.
Rick does one lick, by the way. He does one lick in this Moby that is like, it's up there with my favorite Rick licks ever. It's where he like plays the Moby riff, but then like keeps climbing. And it just hits. Just hits.
It's good stuff.
If it wasn't evident, I listened to this Moby like 800 times over the course of 2021.
Yeah, I didn't. But not like you. And you also listened to this Empress about 1,000 times.
Not this Empress. No, that was
those
Perry.
2021 Empress.
It's Perry. It's all Perry.
Yeah.
We'll get
Not
there.
A fan of these Empresses in 2021.
This one was still finding its footing, though. Like, this one was... Perry was the first one that was like... Yeah. But Perry was the first one that, like, really did a thing.
Yeah.
Still turn-based soloing, like really hot. Anyway, we'll talk about that when we talk about June. And then a 726 Encore, which is the first one, or was Swansea an Encore too?
No, Swansea was the first one. And then, of course, obviously, like Bingo Tour, of course, was the first one. But
no. I'm thinking about the first Encore, and Bingo Tour was an Encore when they got this. So this is the first purposeful 726 Encore, and it works beautifully in this slot.
Yep. Not much to say other than excellent second set and Encore. Like, really, truly great.
Yep. And now we get to the second rain-afflicted show of the tour, and the last one, May 9th, 2021, at the Caverns. A nice 50-minute first set. And let me tell you something about this first set. It kind of sucks.
I mean, is it really that bad?
I mean, you have Indian River, 7-minute Delta, and then it ripcorded into a 7-minute rum. And then
Yeah,
the LMEG is good, but it's just LMEG, and then they have to cut it off because it's raining. Like it
true.
started pouring rain. But I mean, the Atlas is solid, and this is notable because it's the first Welcome to Delta, the only standalone Welcome to Delta, and is a slightly different piano riff than when it would return for good in early 2022.
Yeah, and it's the only time it's ever tracked on its own. Yeah, the only
Yep.
standalone, as you said.
Yep.
Which is, yeah, not much to say about this set, dude.
And for those who don't
I
know,
mean,
sorry, can I give the origin of why it's called Welcome to Delta and why Rick introduces it? Like, stop. Welcome to Delta.
why?
When they were flying down to Florida for Suwannee in April, they flew Delta, and apparently the flight attendant said, like, everybody, stop, quiet. Welcome to Delta, or something like that. And so then they had a riff, and that's why they named it Welcome to Delta.
I didn't know. This is my first time hearing that. Where do you hear this crap?
Rick or Peter or someone talked about it around that time, or in 2021 at some point.
Fascinating. I mean, the only instance of, I mean, I think we're the only people who really refer to the Welcome to Delta section of this, but well, whatever. Yeah, we should talk about set 2. I think,
Why, you don't want to talk about this rum?
the LMEG is good. It's just LMEG, and it's like what, the third LMEG in the last 4 years at this point.
Second. So this was also, by the way, this was the easiest Fantasy Goose show ever, because it was clear that they were going for pretty much no repeats, and it was like, all right, what haven't they played yet? And their songbook in May 2021 was very small,
right,
compared to what it is now. So it was like, all right, Madhavan and LMEG, and
right.
Anyway, this second set, I like this second set. Like, it's not nearly as good as the previous nights, but like, it's good.
Yeah, I mean, the Madhavan is okay. It's not great. Dark Horse at the time, like, just doesn't jam, so it's just kind of Dark Horse, So
at the time, it jams now.
Well, I'm just saying, yes. I mean, it did jam for a minute there. There's like one good version out there.
2.
But the cool thing about the Madhavan is it's not exactly Dragonfly, but it's in the neighborhood, man. And so it's got that type
infusion. Yeah.
So that part's neat, but it's like not typical of Madhavan. So I don't know. It's only okay. I think
and that was another big deal for the time. You go back and listen to the fall 2020 Madhavans, like, it's just like balls to the walls the whole time. And so this one takes it at a slower pace and goes into Dark Horse. And similar to the Yeti from Frederick, you get that kind of like, they do a Madhavan thing for a while, and then they kind of break into the mellower space to go into Dark Horse. So there was a mindset there at the time.
Sure. And then, of course, they go back into Madhavan. They do the Madhavan outro. And then you get Doobie Song, which, of course, that was another one where it was just like, they're really scraping the bottom of the barrel here because they got no songs left to play.
Yeah.
And so you get Doobie, incredible segue into Tumble.
Incredible.
It's so good.
Like,
I forgot
Doobie,
all about
instead
this.
of
My
being,
re-listen is like,
oh, dude, this was one of the things I was most looking forward to re-listening to, because it had been a while. I used to listen to this segment a lot, but Doobie, instead of like being just like a shitty reggae jam, like, they just go into full like ambient floaty thing and into Tumble, which at the time, this is the first time they played it, Tumble or Vibey Tumble. We had no idea what was going on, and we were like, this is incredible.
Yeah, we were freaking out. Oh, because there's a heavy Tumble tease too in the Dark Horse, by the way.
Yes.
Like, I mean, they're basically playing Tumble in the Dark Horse. So we were just like, oh, they had already like played part of it, and now they're going to play like another part of it, and we didn't know what to call this thing. But yeah, that was the first version of the slow Tumble, Vibey Tumble, Tumble, whatever you want to call it. Bring that back. Why don't can we bring that back?
It's been a minute.
It's been a minute.
When was the last
I mean,
one?
I guess they kind of did it. Did they? I mean, well, I guess, but it's acoustic. I was going to say they kind of did it in Mexico, but in any case,
the last The last actual one was Hampton.
Wow. Okay. It's been a minute. So bring that one back because it's cool. And also just fit the vibe of the place. I really enjoyed that. And I think in their minds, that was not a repeat because it was something a little bit different.
Well, it was a different, Dark Horse being the only repeat. We forgot to mention the Easy Up in this set. Peter had an Easy Up over his keyboards. And there's some really good banter before Madhavan of Rick being like, I want one of those. Like, how do I get one of those?
I think he was like, his feelings were genuinely hurt. It was like, well,
he's like, next time I want a tent.
It's my band. Like, where's my Easy Up?
And Peter was like, come on over. Come hang
classic. Out. It's good banter. Like a lot of Rick banter in these shows. There's, he says things which for a long stretch I feel like
Rick comes out of his shell more when like it's a smaller show, I think.
Makes sense.
Or like a pod show like this,
Yeah. Speaking of things that need to come back, let's jump into the Sodcore.
Oh,
because the intro to I understand that this band does not want to play Cross-Eyed and Painless anymore because it's kind of cliche and all the jam bands do it, and certainly Fish, kind of did their thing or whatever. Mm-hmm. But the intro to Cross-Eyed and Painless is one of my most favorite things about this band. Like when I started listening to them, I listened to, what is it? The Mousetrap, Cross-Eyed and Painless, like where it has like the extended intro section. And yeah, it's really cool. They should just do that jam in front of some other song instead of Cross-Eyed and Painless. They can not play Cross-Eyed and Painless. I'm fine with that. Although I do like when they play Cross-Eyed and Painless. This version is sick. It just do the intro jam. It's sick. It's so awesome. It's beautiful. It's mysterious. It's got all the things.
Yeah. But this is great. Hot ending to the show.
Yeah, and then they go the segue into Elmeg also.
They had to finish the Elmeg that they got cut off on in the first set. So this was noted at one point as Elmeg reprise.
Oh boy.
It is not. It's just the ending of Elmeg.
It's just the ending of Elmeg. There were a lot of those, man, back in the day. Some questionable
Arrow reprise, Elmeg reprise.
Oh,
lots of things.
Flea prize, which actually I don't.
T-Prize. T-Prize cropped up more recently too, but
yeah, it's a thing. Well, hey man, that's it. That's the whole
tour.
Yeah, and good stuff all around.
Yeah,
they're building up to this peak that is coming. And you see the vestiges of like their improvisational styles of the future. There's a few different things over the course of this thing.
Yeah, and I think tour. This. And this May run is like really setting the table for what's about to happen on their next couple of outings. Like when we come back in June, it's like, I mean, they're the lows are lower in June. The lows are a lot lower, but the highs.
Yeah.
Oh, baby.
There's all kinds of stuff happening in June.
When we come back next time on Goose the Band, 5 years later. That'll be at some point this summer. We will do a June 2021 episode and a July 2021 episode. The July one will be exciting. I have a feeling that Jive Goose is not going to miss the July episode. It's the last time he traveled out of state for Goose.
Yeah, and he did the whole run too. He did every single show on that run.
Back when you could catch Jive Goose at a Wisconsin or Montana Goose show. Very crazy.
I remember I met Jive Goose. That is where I met him, was in Eau Claire, Wisconsin. Had no idea what he looked like, actually, which is really interesting. I mean, like in person, I had been talking with Jive for, a few months at that point.
Let's save this for the Eau Claire recap.
Yeah. Didn't realize Jive is a tall man. It's very tall
he's
man.
7 feet tall.
Hey, before we go, do you want to talk about the thing that happened?
Good to be?
Yeah, because we didn't talk. We probably should have talked about that in the top of the show. But
yeah, people can sort through our 2021 recap if they want to hear us talk about the leaked single from Goose's upcoming new album in the year 2026.
Yeah. So big debates here about whether or not this was intentionally leaked or not intentionally leaked.
Listen,
sounds like some
all
folks
we know
saying
is that it was run up the flagpole, and nobody wants to hear a half-mast C-tier ham band wanking about their feet.
I love that your internet failed right as you were saying that. That's amazing. But, hey, listen, we've got new Goose. That's exciting. It's unclear whether or not the actual album is coming anytime soon, but we are going to be subjected to a significant amount of hype around this album. And that's pretty clear now. There's a website out there. That website has, mysterious comments inside the JavaScript in the thing. And people are doing all kinds of things like trying to, run ciphers against it and see if they can find secret code within the code. And, it's all happening right now. People are very excited. Instagram accounts are losing their minds right now. There's all kinds of conspiracy theories.
You thought jam band fans were crazy before.
Yeah, it's a little bit much even for me, man. It's I don't know, if this is too far, but hey, listen, I'm excited that folks are excited about this. I think whatever marketing plan they're doing right now is working because people who don't even care about Goose are actually somewhat interested in this, which is I think a good thing. And
I saw a couple of tweets last night. It was like, who are the guys wearing the sweatsuits at the Knicks game? Like, what are they promoting?
Right.
The comments were pretty funny.
So they're doing some kind of guerrilla marketing campaign. And I truly believe that song doesn't end up on Instagram without somebody doing something. So I think it was intentional. And it's also mentioned in the source code of the website. So, I mean, we'll see. But song is good, right? How do you feel about the song? What's your take on the song?
Oh, you want me to talk first? Great. So you can basically tailor your response to see how positive or negative I go, and then you can.
No, well, shoot. I'll go first.
I think it's okay. You go first.
Okay, I will go first. So my first listen to this thing, my first listens, and I am famous for hearing something for the first time being like, it sucks. I absolutely hate it. And
guess what Neil did today?
Yeah. So, I mean, I think I've softened on that a little bit. I didn't say it sucked. I just said I had hoped for more from the first release from the album.
Sure.
And I actually stand by that. I think the song is okay. I think it's good. I was hoping for something that when I heard it for the first time, I would be like, oh my God. Because it's been a while and I kind of thought that was what we should expect from the album. So for example, the first time I heard Dripfield, my mind was blown. I was like, oh my God, this is going to change everything. You know what I mean? And I was hoping for that. That's where the bar is for Goose right now is when I hear their new music, I am expecting something that is going to be, to me, groundbreaking. Mm-hmm. And so that's not what I heard when I heard the song. So I have some negative feelings about that. But getting into what the song sounds like, I think it is interesting. It has elements of, 80s pop music, modern pop music, and the structure of the song doesn't follow the structure of a traditional pop music song. And I like that kind of fighting against each other. That part is pretty cool. I mean, it's a lot of Michael Jackson in this thing, man. It's a lot of Michael Jackson, but it doesn't have the Michael Jackson elements. The hooks just aren't as strong for me, at least. So it's a cool song. It's a songwriting approach that I think is different for them. And
I don't think it's that different. Maybe structurally, but the groove and the instrumentation and the vocals and the delivery and everything, it sounds very classic Rick.
Yeah, I mean the flow of the vocal certainly sounds like Big Modern. So it definitely follows that vibe for sure.
I mean it is kind of a word salad in that's everything's different and there's just a lot, but I think you put it best, but there's no hook really, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
There's no big melody or chorus hit that really draws you in.
Yes.
It's fun.
Yeah. I mean, the vocal melody obviously is the hook in the song. We were kind of debating that this morning. It's that kind of this descending thing. And to me, it's just like, it's not what I would expect from a pop song, but it's got all these other pop song things. So there's a duality to the song that I think is going to be a slow burn for me. And ask me in a week how I feel about it. Might be different.
And I think this song is going to sound totally different live. Like, because
Oh.
again, we're going back to more of the everything must go, very produced sound. Where Chain Your Dragon, obviously very stripped down, kind of raw feel to it. So yeah, we're back to they're putting stuff on it. So live, this is going to sound totally different. And I'm looking forward to it, whether we see it, on this spring tour or not. I'm curious when this song actually gets released or when we get an official album announcement or anything of that sort.
Yeah.
That's going to be interesting. But Big Modern, the album, it seems.
Yeah.
And if anyone knows where I can get one of those sweatshirts, I want one.
Yellow sweatshirt.
Any one of the letters and Big Modern on the sleeve.
Yeah, I think you could make it. I think you could make your own.
Yeah,
just a big iron on A. Get an A. It's very Canadian. A. And yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I could pull off that sweatshirt. I wouldn't go out of the house wearing that sweatshirt. But hey,
I'd wear it
it was designed to draw people's eyes. They did it.
Yep,
it happened.
Yep. Well, and we got Plop involved, Jake Lacey. So that was interesting. Okay. Well, that's good to be. That sounds good to me. And
Jesus.
Oh God, that was terrible. Yikes. Our next episode, 1 week from today, we will be recapping the first show of Goose's 2026 spring tour in Asheville. Very excited to get back on the road. We got a taste of what's to come in in Athens last week. Asheville on Friday, first show of the tour, first headlining show of the year. It's going to be exciting, and hopefully there will be jams. But we will be here to talk about it regardless of what happens. So next Saturday afternoon, join us live, April 11th, as we get things rolling. Anything else you want to add here, Neil?
No, Ben, it's all happening right now. We've had basically a 6-month break from this podcast. We're well rested. We've worked on some things. We were practicing, of course, during that 6-month break, coming up with new material, all of those things. So it's all going to happen here on this run. The Goose, maybe new album material unfolds, but there's certainly going to be new material from AAT Goose Pod. We've been working hard behind the scenes, no doubt. So big year for us, big year for AAT. Beginning year 5 of doing this thing.
That's crazy.
Is crazy.
Yeah, February. So yeah, I mean, if people didn't know why we're doing the retrospective episodes, also it's because we started the podcast in February of 2022. And so we wanted to go back and talk about the important shows that we were around for, but didn't podcast about.
Yep.
I think it's possible that we end up doing a winter 2022 retrospective early next year, but I think we probably stop there.
Yeah, we should. I mean,
I think that sounds right. Because that's kind of the end of the first big development period of Goose.
That would
no
be
reason to do it.
Massive slog to go.
That's a 2-parter, just like what we did the first time. But there's no reason to do it. Fall 2022, 5 years on. Look at how bad these shows are. Anyway, I'm getting way off track as per usual. New Goose next week. Very, very exciting. My mom offering fan feedback, which I will get whether I like it or not when I walk upstairs. Thank you, everybody, for joining us on this Saturday. Happy holidays, Passover, Easter, whatever you're celebrating right now. It's a long weekend for most people, which is exciting. And so enjoy the rest of your time, and we will see you next week for our Asheville Day After show. Lots of exciting stuff to come. Jump shot, caveat. Good to be here.
Go UConn. Go UConn. It's happening right now.
Oh, that's happening right now. Yes.
All happening right now. So
there we go. Thank you for watching. We will see you next time.
Peace. Adios.